Last time we completed malicious prosecution, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Malicious prosecution. Now from this part relating to torts against person, right? We have just a small topic remaining. After that, we have torts against property, where we have both movable and immovable property. Okay, so we are going to cover this part today, which will complete your tort affecting person. All right, after that, we will be left with the property part, movable as well as immovable.
Okay.
So when we talk about this last part, it is about domestic or parental rights. Okay, it talks about domestic or parental rights. So why is this part coming in torts? It is coming because like we have vicarious liability, right? Just because there is a relation, we can make the master liable, we can make the employer liable or the principal liable, or we can make partners liable. Same ways, there is some or the other kind of relation existing even in case of domestic rights or parental rights. So are these relations going to affect in any way when a case is being filed? Can we push or can we like pull those parents or partners also in the proceeding or not? That is what this matter is all about. Okay, when we talk about domestic rights, right, we also have a provision in CPC. When you study CPC, you will see there is an entirely one topic which talks about marriage. Okay, if take for example a case is being filed against a woman and women gets married, in such a case, can we also bring the husband? Can we make the husband liable? Like that, there is an entirely one concept, okay, which applies in civil wrongs. So when we talk about torts, we just have this certain part which talks about domestic and parental rights, whether they can be made liable or not when a case is being filed. So domestic relations is an evolving area of law of torts dealing with internal functions of a family, how a family is functioning, who is responsible to take care of whom. In that sense, we sometimes feel like our parents or partners liable for each other's wrongs or not. The evolution of domestic relations in tort has not only influenced the manner in which family members can connect as a result of tortious behavior for damages or interference with family unit itself. It has also influenced the manner in which husbands, wife, kids, and legal guardians are seen as legal entities. Even sometimes there might not be real parents, but court may appoint a person as guardian also, right? So can we make them liable or not in a certain case? First one we have is parental rights, whether parents can be made liable or not. Okay, now when we talk about criminal wrongs, so like criminal crimes versus civil wrongs, right, there is a major difference. Like when you read IPC, you get to know that a child cannot commit a crime, right? Because they do not have that mental ability to differentiate between right and wrong. So below 12 years, it's like absolutely they cannot be held. Below 7 years, absolutely no liability. 7 to 12 years, we will see if they were mature enough or not. Like that, we have provisions. As in a kid cannot be made liable because they do not have that much of mental ability to differentiate between right and wrong. They as such do not know that they have committed a crime or something, right? So it makes no sense to punish them if they were not having the bad intention. Like intention is very much relevant in crimes, but it's not that much relevant in case of civil wrongs. In civil wrongs, main aim is to compensate. So in that sense, when we look at torts, right, what happens? Minority is no defense in law of torts, and a minor is liable in the same manner and to the same extent as an adult for the tort committed by him. Like I mentioned in CPC, there is a provision. There is another provision relating to, like minors. What will happen if a case is filed by a minor or against a minor? can minor file a case or not? Can we file a case against a minor or not? So it says that we can absolutely file a case against a minor, plus minor can also file a case against anybody. But what happens is, again, law considers them incapable of, like they do not have that much of mental ability to know what is right and wrong. Right? So when a case is also being filed, we need to protect our interest as well. Right? We need to protect our interest, whatever decisions are being taken, whatever in between processes happen, we need to take rational decisions in such cases, right? If we are not able to do that, means the other party might take advantage of it. So it is clearly mentioned, okay, in CPC that when a case is being filed, minor should be, like there has to be someone to look after the case for the minor. It's like next friend or a guardian who will be taking all the necessary steps and doing everything on behalf of the minor. But as such, yes, minor is eligible to file a case. Similarly, we can file a case against a minor also. Okay, so minority is not a defense in case of civil wrongs. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Thus, a child could be sued for trespass like a person of full age. However, if the tort is such as requires special mental element, such as malicious prosecution, a child cannot be held liable for the same unless sufficient maturity for committing the tort can be proved in his case. So when we talk about a minor, they should be having the mental ability. That's why in CPC, when you read CPC, you will come to know, if take for example, minor filed a case, like I said, someone has to be there to represent interest of the minor. Okay, it might happen that there was just an advocate and a minor. Advocate simply filed the case on behalf of minor. And advocate was knowing that it's not like a proper case or something, even then he proceeded. In such a case, advocate might be held liable that you need to pay the expenses. If there was some guardian or next friend, that person may be made that you should be paying this amount, as in they were the one who had the knowledge that this is this kind of a case or something like that, right? So when we talk about minority as such, it's not a defense. They can be held liable just like a major person, but yes, whatever provisions we have in civil law, those provisions need to be followed. Otherwise, it is not a defense or anything. They can be held liable, but only condition is that if special mental element is needed, which is applicable in only few situations, there, yes, we cannot make the minor liable because we consider in law that minor is not having that much of mental ability to understand or differentiate between right and wrong. Okay, liability of parents for children's torts. Fine, minority is not a defense. Minors can be held liable, but what about liability of parents? Can we make parents liable or not for the wrongs which the child has committed? So as a general rule, a parent or a guardian cannot be made liable for the tort of a child, but there are two exceptions to this general rule. There might be two situations wherein we may even make parents or guardians liable for the tort which is being committed by the child. First one is where the child is father's servant or agent. The father is vicariously liable. In such cases, father is liable for son's tort not as a father, but in the capacity of employer or principal. Like we have studied the concept of vicarious liability, there has to be existence of some kind of relation between the parties. So if that same relation is existing between father and son, there also we would say that yes, even though they are father and son, we are not making them liable as a father, but rather we can make them vicariously liable as an employer or principal. Okay, because father was the one who was assigning some tasks to the son and he was performing it. In that, if something goes wrong, we can make the father liable. Same ways, when the father himself, by his own negligence, affords his child an opportunity to commit a tort, he is liable. Father should not be negligent, right? We have some kind of obligations also, that okay, we should be careful and all that thing. There is entirely one concept called occupier's liability, like that. So if the father was only doing something whereby he was being negligent and he gave that opportunity to the child to commit a certain tort, in such cases also we can make the father liable, because if father would have been a little careful, in such a case, this tort would not have taken place. So because of his negligence, we are making him liable. And here, because of the relation that exists between them, we are making them liable. Okay, is this part clear?
Yes, ma'am. But as this first point says, when the child is father's servant or agent, the father is vicariously liable. In such a case, the father is liable for son's tort. So then why they could have added this point in this one, the previous this thing. What is this vicarious this thing we had, topic we had, no ma'am? In that only they could have added this point, no, like why it is separate, I'm asking.
Because this is about domestic relations, right? In domestic relation, are they liable or not? So condition is that if this kind of a relation is existing, what we have studied in vicarious liability, there they are liable. If this is not existing, then they are not liable.
Okay.
Okay, this is like an entirely different topic, right? It is talking about domestic relations. So in domestic relations as such, because of the domestic relation, they are not liable. But yes, if there is this kind of a thing existing, then we can make them liable. Like vicarious liability, based on that relation only, we can make them liable, not like a father or son.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so relating to the second point, right, that if the father was negligent, because of that the child got an opportunity to commit the tort, we have this case, okay, where what happened is the father gave an air gun to his son. Okay, first of all, father was the one who supplied the air gun to the son, who was 15 years old. There were several complaints of mischief caused by use of the gun. So what is mischief?
Some naughtiness by kids.
Sorry?
Something naughty things.
Mischief is like doing something whereby you are, like damaging something, or you are deteriorating the quality or utility of a certain thing. Okay, like might be he was using the air gun and he broke another person's glass windows or something. Okay, another person's some pot and stuff. That is nothing but mischief, as in he is doing something whereby he is causing loss, harm, damage to some property of another person. So there were several incidents of mischief caused by use of the gun. So he was using this gun negligently, and there were complaints also that the father received of mischief committed by the son. He allowed the gun to remain with the boy, who thereafter accidentally wounded the plaintiff. Even after receiving complaints, like first of all supplied the air gun to a son who is minor, he came to know also that he was not using it properly. Even after that, he allowed that, okay, fine, let it be with the son only. So thereafter, there was an incident where accidentally the son wounded the plaintiff and plaintiff filed a case. So in such a case, father was held liable, coming under the second point. Because of father's negligence, the son got an opportunity to commit the tort. So in such cases, we can make the father liable. Okay. So this is about parental rights. Is this part clear?
Yes, ma'am.